So I wanted to try something new for this video instead of just going over, oh, here's Britomart's buff, I think it's very good or I think it's very bad as soon as I kind of give my live reaction to it. Because Britomart is one of those servants I've actually really enjoyed using over on the JP side of things, I wanted to do a video showing her different performances in different scenarios so that people can actually get a real view on what her buff actually looks like. So in this video, I've taken her to fight against archers, which is, just her super effective as a lancer. It's just kind of normal what you'll be encountering when you're using Britomart. I brought her up against riders because riders have the riding passive, which she has a power mod against, and she's also just super effective against riders because of her NP. Again, a very weird and quirky servant. And then I also wanted to show her up against a rider boss, someone that you can actually get multiple stacks of the quick down that she now has thanks to her buff over on JP, and just show what her damage can look like after she stacks a good couple of times. And then for the final one, I wanted to show her against an archer that is also riding, so she would be super effective but still getting off that rider power mod, or not the rider one but the riding passive power mod, because there's not a way for you to really trigger everything with Britomart. Again, she's kind of a weird servant where she's a lancer, so you want to use her against archers, but she also can take advantage of people that have the riding passive, which is a good decent chunk of servants, but not every archer is going to have that, not every berserker has it, and it's going to be useful in a lot of neutral fights, like some random lancers might have it, for instance. But realistically, I think she's really going to shine going up against riding guys because that's where she unlocks her full passive. Most riders are going to have the riding passive, but I'm not going to actually fully commentate the entirety of this video because I think you can kind of just get all the information, I would say, just by watching the gameplay. And if you're interested in stats like that, it's free for you to kind of just look around and see what you want to see. I guess to explain the setups, I don't actually have Ruler Scotty on my own JP account, and I don't have Oberon. And I think that kind of gives a good free-to-play angle for this because I do have Caster Scotty, and you'll see the other support that I use is the ruler version of Da Vinci, because I have always said I think she's a very strong free-to-play support if you don't have anybody else, because she does give the Omni card buff, she gives you NP damage, gives you a little bit of overcharge, as well as also giving 20% NP, which Britomart has a 30% battery, so I opted to use just a fairly decent free-to-play CE. I didn't want to use any of the ones that had their own power mods or that were giving kind of useless effects. The one that she is using is one that gives her 50% starting gauge, a little bit of a quick buff, a little bit of an arch buff, which really isn't relevant, and then some NP gain as well to kind of buff her up in that aspect. Because I think if you're more of a free-to-play player, you're going to gravitate towards something like this, or maybe you're using the Barga CE, or just one of the free-to-plays that gives you some starting gauge, especially for your quick servants, that also just gives you a little bit of a buff for your quick attacks. And before I go, I will say I think her improvement on this NP is really nice. I think she performs rather well. Not the craziest servant ever, but again, this is me doing it unoptimally because instead of an Oberon, I'm having to use a Da Vinci as my plug suit support, and instead of a Ruler Scotty, I have to borrow a friend Ruler Scotty and use my Caster Scotty. But I think this does show some of the refund that, again, not the craziest servant, but she is still able to get the job done. So if you're a big fan of her design, which, let's be honest, if you're using Britomart, it's because you like her design, and you want to know whether or not she's good enough to use, I think she's fairly decent. A bit of a quirky and weird servant because, again, Lancer that really wants to be fighting riders, but at the end of the day is not a bad servant at all whatsoever. I'd like to test her out more going into some CQs and stuff, and we do actually have some of the Lost Belt Sick fights being revamped right now over on the JP side of things, so maybe you'll see a video or two of those coming out in the future. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut up. You guys can go ahead and just watch the rest of the video and enjoy some of the commentary-less, gameplay footage going on there. And you guys can let me know in the comments down below if you'd like me to just try to commentate this in the future, or if you don't mind just throwing up some background music and then just kind of enjoying the farming, or just the different tests, or whatever you want to call it. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, Discord, all that nonsense is in the description down below. But with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video.
君はどうせ君だよ。